When we think of the world's greatest cities, we think of places like Tokyo or New York. But today, we're going to tour a metropolis that's way more complex, with trillions of residents, a perfect power grid, and a communications network that is mind-bogglingly fast. And the craziest part, you're already in charge of it. It's your own body. So let's go explore the city inside you. So let's just ask the question straight up. Could your body actually be the most advanced city ever built? I mean, think about it. It's got power plants, little factories, a super efficient postal service, and even a central government making all the big calls. It really does sound like something out of a sci-fi movie, but as you're about to see, it's shockingly close to how things actually work. And look, this isn't just us coming up with a fun little metaphor. It turns out when scientists really dig into how our tissues are organized, it's like taking a masterclass in system design and, well, natural intelligence. We're basically about to look at a blueprint that's been tweaked and perfected for millions and millions of years. All right, so if you're going to build a city this massive, where in the world do you even begin? Well, like any good architect, you start with a master plan. And the plan for our bodies is all about building from the ground up, starting with the tiniest little brick and scaling all the way up to a gleaming skyscraper. It all begins with one thing, the cell. You can think of a cell as a single, really smart brick. Now, when you get a bunch of those bricks, those cells that all have the same job, and you group them together, you get a tissue. That's kind of like a wall. Then, if you put different types of tissues together to do a bigger job, you've just built an organ. That's our building. And finally, when you have a bunch of organs all working together for one big purpose, you've got a system, like the city's power grid or its whole transportation network.
Okay, let's make this a little less abstract. Take your stomach, for example. It's so much more than just a bag that holds your lunch. It's really a team of different tissues, all focused on one mission, digestion. You've got muscle tissue acting like a cement mixer, just churning everything together. Then you have nerve tissue playing the role of the foreman, shouting out orders. And at the same time, another tissue is busy releasing all the digestive juices. It's this beautiful coordination of specialists all working together.
So we've had the 30,000-foot view of the city, but now let's zoom in. Let's zoom way in. We're going right past the city blocks and the buildings all the way down to a single brick, the cell. Because this is where the real magic happens. So welcome to the factory floor. So here's our map for the tour. Inside every single one of your cells, you have all these tiny little structures called organelles. The best way to think of them is like different departments in a factory. Each one has a very, very specific job to do. So let's start our tour at the top and go meet the CEO. First stop, right in the center, is the nucleus. This is the head office. This is the control tower for the entire operation. Why? Because it holds the DNA. That's the master blueprint that contains the instructions for every single thing this factory will ever build or do. And here's the really important thing to get about the nucleus. It's the CEO, and a good CEO doesn't get their hands dirty on the assembly line, right? Their job is to issue the orders. So the nucleus sends out these little memos. They're actually called messenger RNA. And these memos are just precise instructions telling the factory floor exactly what needs to be built.
So those orders from the CEO have to go somewhere. They go straight to the main assembly line. Now, it has this crazy long name, the rough endoplasmic reticulum. We can just call it the rough ER. Its job is simple. It's a huge factory for building proteins. And all those little dots you see on it, those are the workers. They're called ribosomes, and they are just cranking out products, like hormones or enzymes, that are meant to be shipped outside the cell.
But hold on, the products coming off the line aren't quite ready to go yet. First, they've got to pass through the Golgi apparatus. Think of this as the factory's finishing and shipping department. It takes those brand new proteins, makes a few final tweaks, sorts them out, and then packages them all up so they're ready for delivery. There's this fantastic analogy for this. Think of the rough ER as the part of the bakery that just makes plain dough. That's it. But the Golgi is the master baker. It takes that plain dough and turns it into all sorts of different finished cookies. Some get chocolate chips, others get sprinkles, and some get put into a fancy gift box. It's all about those final touches before shipping. Of course, let's be real. None of this can happen without power. The CEO's office, the assembly line, the bakery, it all needs electricity. And that is where the mitochondria come in. These are the power plants of our cellular city, working non-stop to generate energy in a form called ATP to keep every single department up and running 24/7. So we've just toured this absolutely incredible microscopic factory. which, probably raises a pretty big question. If all of this is happening on a scale that is way too small for us to see, how in the world do we know any of this is actually there? Well, the answer lies in some seriously powerful tools.
Just look at the leap in technology here. With our own eyes, the best we can do is maybe spot a single grain of salt. A standard light microscope, maybe like the one used in high school science class, gets us closer. We can see a single cell, but it's pretty blurry. But to actually walk onto that factory floor and see the organelles we were just talking about, for that, you need an electron microscope. The jump in power is just staggering.
And this right here really brings that difference to life. Look at the image on the left. That's our view with a light microscope. Yeah, you can kind of make out the cell, you can see the nucleus in there, but all the details are just fuzzy. Now, look at the image on the right. Wow, that's the view from an electron microscope. See all those incredible stacked layers? That's the rough assembly line we were just talking about. You can see individual departments. It's the difference between seeing a city from an airplane versus actually walking down its streets.
Okay, so we've established that we have trillions of these tiny cellular cities. But they're not just islands working alone. They have to be in constant communication with each other to coordinate everything across your entire body. So how do they send messages, especially over long distances? Well, it turns out they have their very own dedicated postal service.
Just take a look at this. It is truly amazing. What you are actually seeing is a cell sending out mail. It releases these tiny little packages called exosomes. It's almost like they're putting little messages in a bottle and tossing them out into the bloodstream. These are the envelopes of the body's postal service, and they carry vital information from one cell to another, whether it's right next door or all the way on the other side of the body.
So what's actually inside these microscopic envelopes? This is not junk mail, I can tell you that. They are packed with really important cargo. Things like blueprints in the form of genetic material, or ready-to-use tools like proteins. This is literally the language our cells use to talk to each other. And here's why this is such a huge deal. Scientists are now figuring out how to read this mail, and if we can read it, maybe we can write our own messages and send healing instructions without having to transplant entire cells.
And this right here brings us to the absolute cutting edge. We've gone from the city's master plan all the way to its postal service. So, what happens when we can use something like artificial intelligence to start reading all that mail and to diagnose problems inside the city long before they turn into a catastrophe? This is where everything we've talked about comes together. On the left, you see the biology, the cells sending out their mail, their exosomes. And on the right, you see the technology. We can now take those incredible images from the electron microscopes, feed them to an AI, and basically train that AI to be a detective. It learns how to read the cellular mail and listen in on the chatter, looking for the earliest, tiniest signs of trouble. And what can this AI doctor actually see? Stuff a human eye would never, ever catch. It can analyze the exact shape and size of a cell to look for the first signs of disease. It can literally peer inside the cell and check on the health of the power plants, the mitochondria. It can count specific markers with superhuman speed and accuracy to track how a disease is progressing. It's a total game changer. So we end up right back where we started, inside this incredible city that is our body. We've seen its architecture, we've toured its factories, we've learned about its communication networks. But now, for the first time, we have a translator. So if our trillions of cells are having this constant, super complex conversation, what amazing secrets about our health, about disease, about aging itself will AI finally allow us to hear? The conversation is just getting started.